Alright, and ladies and gentlemen, and today we are back with a draft analysis. Admittedly, this draft happened about 7 or 8 weeks ago. I think it was during winter break. So that is, well, a long ass time ago, I won't lie. However, I just felt the need to do this, right? Despite all of that, it's just a lot easier for me to just, well, do it now and then just go with it. Reason why I'm uploading this now is because I realized that PICA is my baby. PICA is my love baby, and I haven't done anything to prove that. Apart from, well, being a huge part of the inner community, but I haven't done anything to expand on it yet. So I'm doing Match of the Weeks on the official PICA channel, and you know what, I should probably put some more PICA content on my channel. Admittedly, I haven't been putting that much content on my channel in general, but this time around I just felt like doing it. So this draft started, and the only picks I know for sure in what order they were are 1, 2, and 3, maybe 4, and then the last 1 or 2. So this may not be in good order or in the order that I actually drafted them, but you know what, just bear with me, right? Because I do think I drafted Don Fan before I drafted Togekiss, but we'll get to that bridge when we come. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. I can English. So last couple of seasons haven't been doing too great. Reason being, I tried being fancy. I tried using styles that I didn't feel comfortable with. Last season I drafted a very fat team where I basically tried to outwall all the opponents, but my core wasn't, well, solid enough to do that. I drafted like a Mega Venusaur plus a Skarm core and a Uxie. Which was a very good low value pick, but that turned out to be a necessary key because, well, Skarn plus Vena, you can run coverage for both of those, and it was pretty obvious that was going to bring them every single week. So eventually the first couple of weeks it worked out, and then people caught on to me, and then I was just getting slapped. Didn't upload any of that, so there's no proof of that on the internet. So this time around, I decided to do something different. This is exactly what I did with my GPC draft, and that's a while ago. I think it was GPC Season 2 or 3. And I just went with stuff I feel really comfortable with. And that's exactly what I did this season. So, my first pick was Jirachi. I've been wanting Jirachi since, well, I know it's good in league format, and I should have known this way earlier because its move pool is ginormous and all the roles it can do. I don't want to make this a thing where I just scroll through the move list because I hate those draft analysis. It's not an analysis, it's just, you know, look at this mon and see what moves it gets, right? But Jirachi is relatively fast for league format. Base 100 is still good in league, and well, base 100 across the board is just very effective. Its ability, Serene Grace, is pretty damn good. And its ability to do everything you want, right? Rachi can run a successful Scarf set. Rachi can run a successful especially defensive, maybe even Fist F. Coverage out of the as, where it can hit you on the physical, on the special side. It can do basically everything. And if you want this thing to be just annoying to wear down walls, it can also be like a lore set. You can put an expert bell on it, max special attack, max attack, or something along those lines, or just a mixed attacker. Really, it can do that pretty successfully. I don't think there is that much in the game that can reliably switch into Jirachi, apart from maybe like Arcanine or something. But let's say you're Serene Gray's Ancient Power and then you fuck them like that, or just general Psychics, because when they're switching Arcanine, they get an Intim off, and I do think that Arcanine obviously doesn't resist the stab Psychics. So Rachi is basically a mon that's used to fill holes, but you need to get it really early on, because otherwise, well, I can't do that. But you can look at the opponent's team and just think, well, okay, there is a Rachi set that can annoy the ever-living shit out of you. and the Irachi stat that's just going to be really solid against that team. And that's exactly what I decided to go with. So Jirachi, you know, overall solid pick. It's a good hazard setter. It gets coverage through the roof on the physical and on the special side, and that's basically what my Jirachi is going to do. And the last thing I want to say about Jirachi is just a very solid momentum gainer, where it can just U-turn out straight into a very potent threat, which is going to be my second mon. Infernape. I picked Infernape because I have quite some experience using Infernape in draft format. Infernape probably one of my favorite starters. It's definitely up there because I have always been fond of the fire starters. That reminds me of a Prodigy song, but whatever. I do think that fire and fighting are great offensive typings, separately as well, but putting them together is just like an even more potent threat. But Infernape can also do several stuff, because I've ran in the past a Rocky Helmet Infernape with enough speed to outspeed max speed Scissor, which I think it only needs a little bit. But you know, to just wall Mega Scissor, I didn't have anything on my team to wall Mega Scissor. I didn't have anything on my team to potentially wall a Weavile, and then you can just slap bulky Infernape on there as well. But it's also a very good band set. It gets access to rocks as well, so I already have 2 rock setters in my first 2 picks, and this thing is also very versatile. It gets access to Sword Stance, it gets access to Nasty Plot. It's a good setup sweeper. It's a good breaker as well, because you can slap a band or a specs on it. And obviously, well, Nasty Plot does a lot, and Sword Stance also allow you to break walls pretty easily. So, Infernape hits as hard on the physical as on the special side, even though I do think that the physical set is a bit more reliable, because if you go on a special set, you have to rely on hits on moves as Focus Blast and Fire Blast, which tend to miss. So, reliability is going to be the physical set, which I do think is the main set I'm going to be running this season. However, you can mix it up, and you can even build a mix set. You can run whatever you want. If they have a Quagsire in the opposing team, you can just slap Grass Knot on and an Expert Belt, and that probably goes down after you hit it with a close combat first. So all those things make Infernape such a potent threat, and the thing I end up with on Jirachi, I'm going to end with on Infernape. Infernape also gives me access to momentum, right? So you just U-turn out into a potent threat or something that can set up. A thing I forgot to mention about Jirachi, right? We didn't ban Z moves at all. We allowed all of it just to see how it went. What means is that Jirachi gets access to Normalium Z Happy Hour. And what that does, it gives you a stat boost for all of them. So I'm basically +1 attack, defense, special defense, and speed. So Jirachi can also be used as a very, very potent late game sweeper, and not just as a scarf set, but this time it's a scarf set that can switch up moves and hit like a specs or a band set. So that thing is going to win me games. It just straight up is. Third round pick, we had to draft something that's like reliably bulky. That could be bulky on both ends, but you know, just something that's really good. And we went with my buddy. Admitted, I do honestly think that Tangrowth may be the best defensive mon in League format, especially for tier 3. So this was my tier 3 pick. So this was tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. This was my tier 3 pick, and Assault Fist Tangrowth is probably one of the best things that has happened to me during my lifetime, as not even as a Pokemon player, just as a person in general, right? So, but also Rocky Helmet is a very potent threat. It gets access to stuff like Sleep Powder. It gets decent coverage. Its special attack is good. Its physical attack is good. So that's what I like about Tangrowth. The main thing I like about Tangrowth is that you can switch it in reliably on just about anything. And then it also can hit decently hard with the Power Whip, with the Giga Drain, with a knockoff. A knockoff's even more good. It's better more good. Holy shit. It's better in League format because you often don't know what the opponent's items are running and they can run very unexpected things. But this time around, they can't actually do that because you can just reliably knock off. Also gets access to things like Earthquake because Heatran, Magnezone, stuff like that is a very solid potent switch in. But not anymore because, well, you can prepare for that. You just slap Earthquake on it, Power Whip Earthquake, and you have very solid coverage. The only thing that really gets that buggers Tangrove's bread bin, I hate that saying, but I'm just gonna use it anyway, are stuff like specially defensive Skarmory, and there are probably some other things. Well, the next thing on my team. But Tangrove also gets access to Sludge Bomb, which can help it. Like, let's say it's an Assault Vest set and you slap Sludge Bomb on it. It's going to be very easy to still spread residual damage off on opposing team. So that's Tangrove. Tangrove is just going to be the thing I throw in front of things, and then I try and hit as hard as I can. And the best thing about Tangrove, I haven't even mentioned, everyone that has used this Tangrove knows this. It's a Regenerator Mon, and Regenerator Mons are phenomenal. So because you don't have to waste an extra turn to synthesis up, or it becomes more unreliable when you slap an Assault Vest on it. No, it actually becomes really good with an Assault Vest. You can take his on a physical side because look at the stats. Look at that HP stat. Look at that defense stat. And then you max out special defense, and then you get slap on an Assault Vest, and then this thing takes hits from everything ever. So, that being said, we go to our next mon, and I do think that was Donphan, but we're just gonna go with Togekiss. I needed something to just get rid of hazards, because thus far I hadn't. Well, I just didn't have anything that got rid of hazards, and I was quite ground weak. I mean, I have a Tangrowth, right? So I can't really consider your team ground weak if you have a Tangrowth. But fairy typing, probably one of the best typings in the world. The 2 existence. I just slapped all the abilities on there, which is most likely that I'll be using. So for this mon, it's going to be Serene Grace. Very good combination with Rashi, people have mentioned. But I can tell you, we're currently sitting in week 6, and I haven't brought the both of them with the flinching set yet. I mean, obviously I've brought Ironhead Jirachi and I've brought Air Slash Togekiss, but I haven't brought the T-Wave sets, I don't think. I may do that if I do feel like that is my way to victory. But Togekiss, once again, Togekiss is a very good Scarf set, which catches people with their pants down, because usually on my team, which is quite fat, it's a bit bulky offense, I'd say, people expect this defensive set or a special defensive set, but it could be a very potent Scarfer, and it's also very good on the physical and specially defensive side. Gets good speed for a wall as well, which just allows it to do the Air Slash shenanigans that it has. Gets access to Baton Pass, which gives me access to momentum, and obviously Baton Pass, where I can, let's say, pass a +2 special attack into Jirachi, into Infernape, and there is a Mega on the second slide of Pokemons that I've drafted that can also take really nice advantage off of that. But I could also pass it into Porygon 2, and that traces and gets the +3. So there are so many things that I can just Baton Pass into, but this thing on its own gets really good coverage in, well, just flying plus fire hits just about everything. I don't think there is a resist to both, but just don't quote me on that one. I mean, there's Kabutops, right? But that's because it's mixed. But Togekiss also gets great coverage, gets access to so many access, very reliable recovery, very reliable defogger, very reliable flying type, and just a nuisance in general, because it's my oh damn it, the thing where it does the Thunder Wave and the thing where it does the Toxic, it spreads status all over the opposing team. It doesn't necessarily have to do that, but people have to be very, very much afraid, very much aware of, well, potential para-flinching shenanigans. I didn't necessarily want to be a cunt, but it just fit really well on my team. So next month, I drafted Porygon 2, just because I felt like, you know what, with the Tangrowth, with the Jirachi, with the Togekiss, with the Donphan, some other things on the other side, you know what, I don't have enough bulk yet. Let's just grab P2. P2, I'll admit, was very much inspired by Shoddy's usage of it in the PPL. Porygon 2, with the ability of download, if you get the special attack boost, you're still really bulky, and you're still really potent threat. Tri-attack, Ice Bolt, the access to Bolt Beam with Ice Beam and Thunderbolt, that is just phenomenal because there aren't many things that resist that, and you can run coverage for the third one. This is also status distributor, but Porygon 2 is basically there to wall the things that other things cannot or struggle with. Let's say I'm facing a Salamence, Togekiss is weakened, and he's running coverage for Tangrowth with the Fire Blast. This thing gets Trace, so I can Trace the Intimidate, get it to -1, and straight up kill it with an Ice Beam. This thing is the Intimidate killer because a lot of Intim users are actually physical attackers. There is a Mega Manectric which got Intimidate and then hits on the special side, but that's the only one I can think of currently. You could go with Dark Pulse Crook, but you know what, that's just not a thing. So this is also status distributor. This is also just a thing that I like to throw in front of well, the opponents, because the way I like to play is balance in League format. I like to pick 3-4 mons that can wall the entire opposing team, and then I like to pick the 2 or 3 other mons that can break the entire opposing team. And with the mons that I've thus far drafted, these 5, I can already reliably do that. And I'm going to continue the streak on with my next mon. So, I wanted 2 ways of getting rid of hazards because I didn't want to force Togekiss into the defogging role every single week. And I want an electric immunity because, as we may know, electric types are very, very good in League format. Because they give you momentum, they hit reliably hard. Usually U-turn is unstabbed, but Volt Switch usually is stabbed, can hit reasonably hard. And it switches in on your water types all day long. There's such things as Helio, well, mainly mentioning Heliolisk then. But Donphan gives me another Stealth Rocker, so that's a third one. It gives me a Rapid Spinner, so I have Rapid Spin and Defog on this team, and it's just Stab Earthquakes, right? So, and access to Priority Ice Shard. There are so many things that are quite weak to ice. Let's Dragonite, Salamence, Lando T, Garchomp, just to name Gliscor, so just to name 5. Those are actually all 5 I think I know, but or I can think of right now. But Donphan can also be a very potent Assault Vest user. Also could be a late game sweeper if I wanted to, because this thing gets access to Rock Polish. It doesn't necessarily need. I don't necessarily need to slap that on, but you know I could very much do that. So that's going to be Donphan, I think. Donphan is just there to get up rocks and get rid of Stealth Rocks, and could potentially be a late game cleaner as a Rock Polish set, but still add this amount of speed. I do think that it gets still outsped by the majority of Scarfers if you hit 436. So could do that. I still think like things like Mega Alakazam still outspeed it without it needing. Could be that Mega Zam hits 435 or 445. I don't know. I know that Mega Manectric hits 405, so that doesn't outspeed it. But so it could potentially use Donphan as a late game cleaner. I don't think I will do that a lot. I don't even think I'll be bringing Donphan that much because I don't necessarily like Donphan, but it just really fit my team. I needed it. I wanted a ground type. I wanted a different way of getting rid of hazards, so that's why I wanted Donphan. Otherwise, I would have probably gone with something like Crocodile, because I have much more experience using that thing. I feel a lot more comfortable using that thing. So we're gonna go to the second page, and that gives me Reuniclus, Sneasel, Jellicent, Alolan Muck, and Manectric. So it's a good thing I didn't actually get Crocodile, because that would triple my Dark types. and you don't want to triple up on typings. Doubling up is questionable, but I mean sometimes it's just necessary. So as I said, doubling up on typing is questionable, but not with Reuniclus and Jirachi, because they do completely different things. Reuniclus is super slow, it's a magic art. It also gets access to Regenerator, so I have somewhat of a Regenerator core, but I do think that magic art is a bit better on Reuniclus, especially since Reuniclus also gets access to a very nice instant recovery, being Recover. But we all know what Reuniclus does, right? It either stands in the way of things, which can't really break it. Let's say Mienshao, and you slap on a Cobra Berry, and then Mienshao is going to have the biggest trouble of breaking my Reuniclus, but I do think Jellicent could also potentially do that. Now we continue on with the calm mindset that you could use. There is an option of setting up a Trick Room. So looking at this team, right, it's reasonably slow apart from my offensive threats. So Jirachi and Fernib are fast, and then the other things are all reasonably slow. So you could slap, let's say, Choice Band on Donphan and then bring it in on in a Trick Room, and it can do well like that. And Jellicent gets access to Water Spout, and then Alolan Muck gets access to, well, just really strong coverage in a Knockoff and Gunk Shot. And that's kind of the coverage should get. The Muck's coverage isn't great, but it's a very low tier pick. But Reuniclus is just there to just fill up some holes. Reuniclus is there to be bulky when I need it to, but it's also a very, very potent win con. As soon as you get up 1 or 2 Calm Minds, it's basically game, depending on what the opponent has got. If they have too many Dark types and you end up missing a Focus Blast or a Signal Beam, then that is potentially problematic. But Reuniclus is probably one of the better wall breakers, and the fact that I can't get statused, that you can't get residual damage on it with Toxic, with Burn, then that makes Reuniclus just so much better. You could potentially just slap an Assault Vest with Regenerator on this thing as well and just hit really hard. And the fact that it gets Magic Guard and you can put on a Life Orb, you can put a Life Orb on this thing, means extra damage but no recoil. And those are the things that make Reuniclus so good, and that's why I really, really wanted it. We've started to notice the thing, right? My team is really bulky, my team isn't all that fast. The fastest thing that I've got thus far is Infernape with 108, and I really wanted something that outspeeds those, and I really need a low tier pick, and Matthew recommended me something that he actually wanted to draft. So he shot himself in the foot a bit, but Sneasel hits 115. So once again, Sneasel, I'm doubling up on typings with the Muck, but let's be honest, Sneasel and Muck do completely different things. Muck comes in, switches in on things, and then tries to trap them or kill them, or just get off a big hit on the incoming Mon. But Sneasel doesn't switch in on anything, because Sneasel is just like, wow, it's super frail. It's one of the frailest things I have seen in existence. Base HP 55, base defense 55, and speed def, 75 is respectable. But what you really want to use this thing for is a late game cleaner or a potential revenge killer. The fact that it gets Pursuit is just phenomenal, so you can trap things reasonably easy, and just Knockoff and Ice typing is probably one of the best offensive typings. And then pair that up with Knockoff, which gets such a boost in Gen 6. So Sneasel is basically there just to outspeed the 115s and just to revenge kill the things I wanted it to revenge kill, and then access to stat priority with Ice Shards is just really nice. Bandit Sneasel, Sash Sneasel, gets access to Short Stance, so there are a lot of potential things that Sneasel can do, and you know what, I'm just really happy with this pick, and I'm really happy that Matthew recommended it to me, but I don't think he was all that happy that he did. So next up, we have Jellicent. I waited very long on my bulky water. I waited probably way too long on my bulky water, and I honestly don't think one should ever do that. But you know what? I did it, and honestly, I don't regret it. I don't regret it by any means. This is Jellicent. Jellicent is my spin blocker. Jellicent is a very potent defensive Mon and gets good stab coverage with water and Ghost. So Scald, Shadow Ball, and it gets access to Will-O-Wisp, Toxic, and instant recovery in Recover. For a wall, Jellicent Speed, base 60, is not too shabby, and it gets access to Taunt. So Jellicent can outwall other walls. And that's exactly what it does and what I plan on doing with Jellicent. So I just throw it in front of things like Embor, Araquanid, that kind of stuff. And I can throw it in front of walls, taunt them, just be a very big nuisance to other walls, so they can't recover, so they can't get their their decent recovery off. All in all, I just want Jellicent to be my spin blocker, distribute status, and be an annoying taunt user. I've considered Scarf, Water Spout a couple of times, but you know what, that's just not great. Another thing I wanted to point out, a very good switch into this would be usually Hydreigon, because that's kind of the thing it can't hit with its 2 stabs, and it's usually a special attacker, so it doesn't really care that much about Will-O-Wisp. And Toxic, Hydreigon's not a mon that you keep in for like 5 or 6 turns in a row, so it doesn't give too many shits about Toxic either. But this thing actually gets access to Dazzling Gleam, so the coverage of Jellicent is also really good. Also gets access to Giga Drain, I don't know why necessarily, and also access to Hex, but I don't have anything that sets up Toxic Spikes thus. Yeah, so that is a bit unfortunate. So second to last one is going to be Muck. Muck is mainly an Assault Vest user. I could do several things with Muck, but I do think that the Assault Vest set, it's like Electros, right? It can do a couple of things, but the Assault Vest set usually is the optimal set. So that's exactly what we do with Muck. Muck does a couple of things, which is Click Knockoff, Click Gunk Shower, Poison Jab. You can Pursuit Trap things with Muck, which is just great, which I plan on doing a whole lot this season because I have 2 very potent trappers, and I'm just very much fond of trapping things. Because usually those things are very big threats, such as Psychic types, let's say Reuniclus, but that's on my team, let's say the Lottie twins. Those kind of things are just very potent threats. So Muck also gets access to Clear Smock, so it prevents setup. And it's really good against things like, let's say, the setup sweep or setup Manaphy. It can take a hit and then it just straight up Clear Smog it, and then it's going to be useless in that regard, or at least not as useful as it was. And then also gets access to Priority and Shadow Sneak, just to get off some last ditch effort. And with the ability Poison Touch, that could actually work out reasonably well, because you get off the Shadow Sneak, do about 10-15% to the opposing mon, and then you also give it poison. You also poison it where it gets the residual 12 every single turn. So Muck is just one of those value picks that you really want. It's really fat and hits really hard. It has good HP stat, has good special defense stat, has good attack stat, and has the ability to trap things. Its coverage isn't great, but it gets access to Fire Blast, which helps the poison and the dark out quite a bit. But its special attack isn't that great. So that being said, we're just gonna move on to my last one, Mega Manectric. As I said, my team isn't all that fast, and having something like Mega Manectric, which outspeeds the world, to be honest, is just really solid. Mega Manectric is another momentum gainer on my team, because I had a couple already on the previous page, being Jirachi, being Infernape, being Togekiss, and then being Manectric. So I wanted an extra momentum gainer, and as I said, there are very potent electric types are very good in League format. The reason why I went with Mega Manectric last is because at about turn 8, I hadn't decided on what Mega I wanted to use yet, or I had Mega Manectric in mind, but everyone already drafted their Mega, and you can only get one Mega. So for me, it was Mega Manectric was very much safe. It was very much locked in that I would get Mega Manectric. And that's exactly what happened. So after turn 8, I already knew I was gonna get Mega Manectric, so I just kept it for last. Mega Man X is just one thing, right? It just is one thing. Oh, it has volt switches, and it could late game clean. It can revenge kill. But so it's basically kind of a Sneasel. It's less fragile than Sneasel, and it hits on the special side rather than the physical side. It does get some physical coverage, but you don't ever want to use those because that's just not all that great. I'm just really curious if it gets flame charge or not. Okay, it doesn't. So that's a good thing to know. But gets decent cover. Usually Celebi could be switching, but then you can just change it up to Signal Beam. Also gets access to Shadow Ball, but well, HP Grass obviously, because things like Quagsire, Swampert are usually the only things that wall Mega Man Electric. But as soon as you see them on our team for League format, you can just slap Hidden Power Grass on it. And if they just have really fat, especially defensive walls, you can just full switch on out, and you can just go into Infernip, into Sneasel, into Jirachi. So Mega Man Electric is a late game cleaner and a momentum gainer where it can just full switch on out into my other offensive threats, mainly being Infernip and Jirachi. Also potentially Muck to just trap things as well, because Lottie Twins should also be good switch-ins to Mega Man Electric, and then it can just full switch out into Sneasel or Muck. But all in all, I'm just very happy with this team, and thus far it has been performing alright. I haven't had any problem building yet. Usually I do what I do, but I try to wall the opposing team, and then I just also try to just kill everything on the opposing team with the mons I've got. And thus far, with the momentum that I have, with the power that I have, and with the bulk that I've drafted, so there's a very nice distribution on all of those things. So all in all, I'm just very happy with this draft, and I will start uploading these starting potentially tomorrow. For this season, I'll separate team builders with battles, so I have actually more content to upload. I'll be honest with that. It's just basically to get out more content. So that's gonna be it for today. Hope you guys all enjoyed, and I will see you guys in week number 1 of the team builder. Bye.